Create steady and valuable social media content. Social media channels, there are still a lot of companies that we talk to. Um, and usually they'll show up to us and maybe they've thought they need LinkedIn for recruiting, or maybe they have a Facebook page, but they're not really getting excited about it and they're not really driving it. And sometimes it's because they have other complexities, like maybe their company is actually made up of 20 brands. And maybe they have social media happening at some of those brands and not others. Yeah. And so sometimes you have complex situations. A lot of the material that we cover on the podcast is for lead generation companies and kind of local or regional companies. But some of these problems apply all the way up the food chain to really big companies. Like we work in healthcare with a lot of companies that do mergers and acquisitions to absorb local and regional networks of businesses. Often they have, anywhere from 3 to 20 locations. And so it's often a wild west for this stuff, and they don't really know how should we feel about social media. And a lot of it comes down to, well, who's going to do the work? And if the work's being handled at some locations or in some brands in a portfolio company, they're often like, okay, well, let's just keep doing that. The problem is sometimes it's not being done well. And social media, it's one of these areas that Google has sort of crack the code on understanding how it relates to a domain or a brand. And so the more activity there is around a brand, the more it signals to search engines that website address is one that's valuable and should be higher, not lower in search engine results.
Yeah, and it matters too, it matters your posting frequency, and I think it also matters too, how many followers you have on that. You have to think that Google, if you have a social account that's attached to your brand and your website that has 50,000 followers, you have to think it places a higher authority on that than, say, if you have 500.
That's right. That's right. So all these metrics are tied together for Google. So social signals, levels of social activity, the level of engagement, all that matters. So if you've got, we've had clients before that have come into us, and when they started with us, the social media account was sort of a pet project of somebody who was interested in it at a business or within a brand. And they were even posting just like silly cat videos to the corporate site, totally irrelevant, a very outdated way of thinking about social media. And so, I would say as recently as in the last year. Just kind of random stuff. And the reason is not all of these channels like social media are necessarily a priority if you're focused on other things. But if you're looking for kind of a set of principles to guide you, I would say, number one, yes, you do want to be in social media. Number two, focus on driving valuable, relevant content out on a regular basis. Don't get passionate about it and do it really strong for a couple of months and then trail off. Decide what your plan is for the year and schedule your activity and think about it. So that's how to think about social media. It's not going away, and it needs to be part of your SEO strategy.